y'all, is when you get home and you open your emails, do not panic. The teachers already did. We are just not going to panic. Brandy Q gets sent some emails with a lot of, I think it's PowerPoints that we've gotten at meetings, and it's all part of resources. And I haven't talked to her, but I'm sure her intention was so that you'll have all the resources in one place. It's not for you to go home and learn it all tonight. So all I want you to do is make an electronic file that says PARC. You drag it in there. You want to glance at some of it. If you're curious, that's fine. Do not panic. We're just going to take those and we're going to start talking about those in class to get you familiar with them. Don't want anybody to think they need to learn all that right now. It's totally overwhelming. She's just giving you information so we don't withhold it, but it's not for you to do anything with right now, but just glance at some of it and put it away. Okay? Thank y'all for being here. We just kind of hope, we did this one year, a couple of years ago, maybe with our new teachers, and just once, and it just seemed pretty valuable, so we thought we'd touch base again. We're going to start with a little bit of team building activity. I'm going to see, you can try this with your kids, but you're going to see how we do with it, okay? This activity, you cannot talk at all. There will be absolutely, like you can't mouth anything, no talking. So it's communicating without words, okay? And we are going to get in a circle in order of our birthdays, okay? The month, the day, and the year. Okay, so January 1st, we're going to come out. January 1st, we're going to start right here, and we're just going to make a circle like this. And you just got to figure out where to stand based on chronological order. Okay, what we're going to do is you're going to call out your birthday month and day. When it's your turn, if you need to move, go ahead and move. But don't move until it's your turn. All right, you ready? Okay, go. I'm February 10th. February 23rd. February 24th. March 9th. March 9th. April 14th. April 19th. April 24th. May 4th. June 13th. June 16th. July 14th. July 25th. August 17th. August 25th. September 3rd. September 13th. September 24th. September 27th. October 3rd. October 5th. October 15th. October 11th.
December the 3rd.
December the 30th.
Wow, y'all, it didn't take y'all long to get all really had to do that. Y'all are much smarter than principals, okay? You did this and do all over the place. It took me forever. So that was awesome. But you can see, if you do this with your kids or something similar to this, that you couldn't talk, but you had to figure out how to communicate, but you had to work as a team. You couldn't worry about who's first, you know, I want to get here, this is my spot in line, you know. And so it's just kind of a fun thing to do with your kids to just show them that if you work in a team, that you can get this done much quicker, but if you don't work as a team, it takes you a long time. Okay, y'all can sit down, y'all got a little rock. So just read this when I flash it, everybody read it together, y'all ready? Stability. So somebody, some of y'all have been listening to me talking about stuff, and I may have talked to some of y'all about some things, but what do you think I would want y'all to remember about stability, about our school? Angel?
Provide students with some stability that they will expect in your classroom, so that they're stable and then you can teach them better.
Yeah, students can learn better if they feel like your environment is stable. Yes, ma'am? Consistent. Say what you mean and mean what you say.
I was thinking controlled environment. Obviously they know what to expect, but it's not going to change from day to day. It's very consistent.
Procedure.
Yes, the procedures. Now let's think about a broader thing, not just in our classroom, but about our school and our faculty, about you. Let's think about you for a minute. What is stability for you? What do you think this means? Having job stability. Oh, no, I don't think anybody's knocking the door down to get here, y'all.
Thanks.
I know nobody's knocking the door down to get mine. So I don't think they're getting yours either. About getting our faculty stable. And I just want to talk to y'all just candidly, because that's I'm just honest, so I just need to be honest with y'all. Over the last 3 years, and this is our 4th year, when my principal friends that I'm really close to, and I know what they're doing all summer, because sometimes we even work together just so we're not alone, you know, and just work here at night and stuff. And I'll look at the work that they're working on, and then I'll look at the work that I'm working on and my administrators are working on, and we're spending so much time recruiting, interviewing, and hiring, which is a major process, that when school starts, everybody's at a disadvantage because where my other principal friends have been planning for the year and they're ahead of the game, we're just jumping in and getting started in August because we spent all summer trying to find good teachers. Everybody is not cut out to do this. I'm not saying that they are, but I can tell you this with a good heart. This group of teachers, that my new teachers, just raise your hand if you're new this year. My new teachers this year, although every one of y'all have your struggles, and I know you do, and I know that I haven't been able to be the personal support that I've wanted to be, but I'm hoping that your team has been, or you've gotten some teachers that have helped you with some administrators, and I think, you know, we all try to do that and pitch in. There's not a teacher here that when I talk to her doesn't reflect on what she can do to change. And my new teachers last year that I had the most faith in were the ones who, when they came in my office, even if they were crying at wit's end, when we had conversation, it was always about, what can I do? And that's what we have built, that's what we've got here. So this is our year for stability. So in all fairness to you and the children at this school, so that we can get rolling, if everybody would just hang on tight, don't think about quitting, and just let's get stable so we can spend the summer doing the valuable work that we need to do to get started. Raise your hand if you're a second-year teacher. Y'all look around at at this school. I know you may not be a second-year teacher, but at this school it's like you are. Because I'm like a 4-year principal right now. Okay. I just wanted y'all to see who they are, because they survived. They came back. So, all right. So, growth. What do you think about when you see growth?
Data.
Ma'am?
Data.
Data. And data is about our student achievement. It's about student achievement, absolutely. And we're not going to see any growth unless we have what? Stability. If we keep spinning our wheels and having to train new teachers every year, nobody knows Montessori. Nobody knows how to do this. Y'all don't know how to do that. And you know how hard it is right now? Okay, well, it's 16 of y'all. We got to stop doing that. We have got to get to a place where, yeah, you might have 1, 2, 3 new teachers, but this needs to be a place where people want to come back. And I'm going to tell you what research shows. And this isn't just Hammond research, it's not Tangible Ho research, it's international research. Shows that teachers will come back to work even if they have the hardest job, if they feel like they have a friend.
Yeah. Yep.
And a friend is really important, like a friend and a mentor. Just a good friend or a group of friends, somebody you can go to. And I can tell you one thing, I cannot do it all. And I don't even pretend to do it all, but I have enough people on this faculty that nobody should be without a friend, because I have generous, compassionate, and loving, knowledgeable people. So if you need somebody, make sure you go to them. What do you think about when you see the word knowledge? What you're supposed to know. And there's a lot of new knowledge out there every year. And I hate to tell y'all, but as soon as we understand Park and Common Core, there'll be some new knowledge.
Kinds of knowledge.
It's just kinds of knowledge. It's all kinds of knowledge.
Knowledge of your students' culture and their backgrounds and what their needs are.
Yes. Not just knowledge of Common Core and curriculum, but the needs of the children and their background. Why they came in like they are in the mood that they're in, okay? So if we end up with a lot of knowledge, or if we accept the knowledge that we're getting, and we know we're not going to know everything, we're never going to be experts, but if we keep growing and learning, what's going to happen? We're going to see growth in our student achievement. Team building. We've got to build a team, and you can't build a team if you start over every year. So that's why I'm talking to my new teachers, because I know there are moments when you just want to walk out. If I didn't value every one of y'all, I would just be talking to just some of y'all about this. Because the rest of y'all be saying, January's getting close, I hope they're thinking about leaving. That's not where we are. This is 100% of the new teachers at this school. We need to keep you to build a strong team and to build capacity. And when we build our team, what are we going to see? Growth. It all boils down to how do we grow our children? These are the things we have to do to grow our children. Did your parents ever tell you when you start piano lessons you can't quit?
Oh, yeah.
Mine told me that. I had to take it for 4 years. She bought this used piano, I guess, for a dollar. She couldn't afford anything else, even though I didn't know that we couldn't afford anything. I thought we had just as much money as everybody else. But anyway, she bought this old used piano. It was orange. I don't know why, but somebody painted orange before we got it. And it was in the laundry room, the utility room we called it. And that's where I practiced. And when her friends came over, she sent it in there for me to play the piano. I wasn't very good at it, but she thought I was great. But she didn't want me to quit something. And she always said, when I quit after 4 years, I'd be sorry. And today, guess what? I'm sorry I quit, because I'm probably been pretty good by now. So don't quit. And if you don't quit, what are we going to see? That's it. And sometimes you might not feel this when you are having your lowest day, and maybe your friend wasn't around, whoever that friend is. And maybe sometimes, you might not think I value you, or Mr. Colway values you, or the state, or whoever values you. But please know that even though I may not get to come by and say every day how valued you are, that in my heart and in my soul and my administrators' hearts and souls, why are we administrators? Because we don't want to be teachers. I'm teaching. No, really. No, honestly, you think about this. This is the hardest job I've ever done.
Yeah.
And this is my 34th year in education. Well, if it's that hard, then why don't I just do what you're doing? Because you're the people who are doing the job that matters the most. I'm just here to try to keep it rolling. You are the people who are the most valued in this school.
And always remember that there are always 19, 20 plus children waiting for you every day that value you. Nobody else knows when you're worst of your worst.
That's exactly right. Your children value you every day. I'll interject anytime you want. And so because I value you, you need to feel valued and know that you're valued, and then you will experience more growth. Okay? And then this is the most important thing, even if
Even
our
if it's
scores,
two.
when we talk about changing lives at our school, we talk about possibly keeping people out of prison. We talk about possibly keeping people from being murderers and drug addicts, because education's the key, y'all. And they're not going to grow unless they feel valued. So if you add that value to them every day, you're going to see changes. Can we reach everyone and change everyone? No. Mr. Bellavia had to explain that to me, because my first year here, my heart was so broken because we had to have 2 transition classes, and I did not want to see possibly 24 kids in transition, because we had 12 and 12 was the opening, the slots. And I called him very upset. They're going to miss a year of their education, And he said, okay. So you leave them in a classroom, and then 25 kids miss their education that year.
Yeah.
He said, Mr. Wong, I'm sorry to tell you, but you can't save them all. And I knew that, but coming from him, it made it really hit home. That if I save a few, and you save a few, we've done a really great job. And that's like, I shouldn't be talking about anybody, but that's why. I'll just speak for me. But that's what I think my purpose here, and what God called me here to do, is to make you feel valued, so that you can make kids feel valued, so that we can change lives. Okay? All right, so that's my little spiel for now. And I want to talk to y'all about something that you're going to hear me talking about a little bit more coming up, because I'm just learning these terms. But this is the stuff I like to do. This has nothing to do with curriculum right now. But this is about having structures in place. And structures are any time that you have something on your calendar that's locked out and reserved for a certain group of people. So I met with somebody who I value their opinion a lot last night. Miss Sue and I had a meeting last night, and we met until about 7:30 here and just went over some things and just tried to get myself a little more organized. And one of the things this person said was, let's talk about the structures that you have in place. Well, I started naming things like pre-leadership team, leadership team, cluster, grade level meetings, faculty meetings, which we're going to try to scratch as much as possible, huddle with my administrators. And so we were talking, and she says, some schools have no structures in this state. Some principals have one structure. Look at all the structures you have in place. She said, now here's what you need to think about. When you have something that y'all need to work on, you think about the structures you have in place and which structure are you going to use to facilitate that learning. Or let's say it's a problem. It's not new learning, but it's a problem. Which structure are you going to facilitate that problem in so that those people in that structure can identify that problem with all the hurdles that come with it, all the obstacles, and come up with a solution. She said, you've got these great structures, you're just not executing your plan and using it to the best of your ability because you're all over the place. So this weekend, next week, I'm going to try to tweak that a little bit more, but I wanted you to know some structures that are in place for you because sometimes you may not feel supported, but these are the structures that are here to support you. And so we need to use those structures. You have your cluster meetings. So let's say the cluster meeting is going one way, but you really need to talk about something important. You need to let that either Brandy or Leslie know. It may not be the time right then and there, but just let them know, you know what, y'all, this is a great, we're going to start learning these terms too. This is a great structure for us to discuss blah, 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 whatever. And let's start using that a little bit, just like it happened in your cluster accidentally today. Colette brought up something, and we said, wait, that's a great thing for cluster. Now, we can't think of everything and have it planned. It's your cluster. It's not our cluster. We're planning it so you'll have an agenda. You don't walk in just with nothing to do. But we want your feedback, so y'all need to give it to us. Your grade level meetings, that's a really great place for you as a new teacher to say, when you meet as a grade level, y'all, this is what I'm having problems with. Who's an expert on that, or where can I go? And also, you have a handout that I gave y'all that looks like inspect what we expect. I think I gave y'all this a while back. Because you get so much stuff, if you're like, you don't even know where it is. I wanted to give you this again, the inspect part. That's for my administrators, not you. But these, if you look, find your name, this is the administrator that is your go-to. We have not done the best job of this, and so we are regrouping next week because we're pulled all over the place all the time. But what we want to do is, this administrator would be the person checking your lesson plans to help you. Hey, I'm seeing some holes in this, or can you explain to me how you did this? Or I saw Miss So-and-so's lesson plans, and she had this in it. You might want to try it, or whatever. And this is the person who's going to do the walkthroughs in your classroom. So that's a structure, something real concrete, so that we're not hopping all over the place. Now, it doesn't mean that other people can't do walkthroughs in your room, but we want to at least take care of our people. That we're going to call that our administrator zone, so the people in our zone. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is some strategies, okay? We haven't spent a whole lot of time with our new teachers this year talking about think alouds, but we spent a lot of time last year on that. So like if you're not new, everybody knows what that means. So I'm going to give you the real skinny of it. New teachers, raise your hands. I know where I'm looking at. Okay, look at here. All right. A think aloud, in case you hadn't picked up on it. A think aloud is when you are teaching something in the I do stage. Me. You are watching, you are not talking, you are listening. And I'm the teacher. And I'm going to go through the process in my mind out loud how I solved that problem or how I read that passage and answered those questions. As an adult thinker, this is how I think, and this is how I want you to think or think similarly to this. Even though when we get into our dialogue, because we're speaking and listening, I might ask you how you did it, and you might explain one way. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So then I might ask you, and you're going to dialogue, and you're going to explain how you solved it. But I'm going to tell you how I did it. That's a think aloud. It's called step in, step out. So when you step in, you tell your kids this. You don't make them figure it out. I'm doing a think aloud. Right now, I'm gonna step in. That means I'm into my think aloud. I'm pretending you're not there, and I'm thinking out loud. And you step in. And you go through the whole thing, the I do part. If you need to tell them something, Danielle, excuse that something. If you need to tell them something, you step out. And you say, I'm stepping out a minute. Did y'all notice when I did da-da-da-da-da? Stepping in again. That's a think aloud, okay? The skinny. Rice. I'm seeing a lot of rice going on. You were supposed to be taught that in your grade level meeting. If you were not, please ask. I'm not going to go through rice. Okay, there's something else called the gradual release model. Raise your hand. Do not be shy. Do not lie to me. Raise your hand if you don't know about the gradual release model yet. Okay. Gradual release model. It's the I do, we do, you do. Okay, let's use academic language. It's called the gradual release model because you're gradually releasing the responsibility from you to them. Okay, I learned something new about the gradual release model, so look at the handout that I gave you that has those triangles on it. Okay, there's an extra one in there. I learned this year. It's called the GRR. It's called the gradual release of responsibility, or we can just call it gradual release, doesn't matter. But GRR is the new term I learned. Gradual release of responsibility. Okay. There's a fourth one, and it's called you do it. It should be we do it.
Yeah, it's the second we do.
It's you do it together. I think it should be we do it together.
It is, it's the second we do.
It says that. But anyway, I got it out of a book from the thing. But anyway, what it means is, okay, I'm going to do my think aloud, and I'm a model. Now, I want everybody that's new to look at me and listen, because if I'm telling you this because I know it. You know how Oprah says, one thing I know for sure? Model, 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 model. Because if you model one time, you have children who have very little background knowledge, very little vocabulary, they're not going to get it. So guess what? If you reflect and say, I don't know they didn't get it, reflect on this. Did I model enough? Let me model some more. Okay? So you model, that's your I do. Then you do the we do, where y'all are doing it together. Then you're going to do the we do it together. That means put them in pairs or groups, and they're doing it, but you're still facilitating. You're still probing, you're still asking questions, you're still checking, assessing. Then you do the you do, which is the independent work. Now, it doesn't have to be in that order. There may be an activity or a lesson that you start in a different place. It doesn't always have to be you start with the I do. But every effective lesson should have those parts in it. Okay? All right. Got that? Okay. Interventions is the next thing on my agenda. Don't worry about interventions and progress monitoring because y'all going to be talking about that in cluster. Common formative assessments are going to be in cluster. Okay, lesson planning. I'll ask some teachers to come today. Miss Cruz and Miss Davis are going to be first, and then Miss Sanders and Miss McDaniel, Miss Ziegler, and Mr. Richardson are going to be next, just to talk to you for a few minutes about how they are actually collaborating and planning together. Okay? But now I want you to listen. I don't care if you don't plan with anybody. I never planned with anybody, so I'm not going to expect you to plan with people if I never did. I never taught in this world either. So you may need to plan with somebody to survive. But if two new teachers are planning together, I think that's great. You have a friend, but that's the blind leading the blind. Two new teachers can plan together with a seasoned teacher, that's okay, but not alone. So if that's your planning partner, you better get a trio going, okay? Because you probably blind lead the blind. Okay, so it's hard to plan together because of time and all that, but don't ask me how some people figure it out that they are. So they're going to tell you because I don't know. Kaylin and Kristen, y'all come up first. This is their second year. The reason why I asked teachers who were not real veteran teachers is because I want my new teachers to know that this can be you next year. It's okay if you don't quit. If you quit, you're going to be new somewhere else, I hate to tell you.
The first thing we did, we put a little snapshot of our day and some routines just in case y'all wanted them. It's not what we're talking about, we just added it. But the first thing we do is we made this checklist
It has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the weekend on it. And this is what we do on Monday. So we might find our orth passage, find our handwriting sheet, and find culture. And that's all we do on Monday. So we're not sitting home Monday for 4 hours looking for everything. So we dissect what we're doing on our lesson plans for the next week by days. So you're not sitting there all night trying to find every single subject on one day. And then we just check it off each day. And Maggie, we kind of plan in like a triangle. So we have color coded. So like if it's pink, then I'm doing all the pink things. And if it's yellow, Maggie's doing the yellow things. And if it's blue, Kristen's doing it. So that's kind of how we do it. That way you're not, on the weekend, everything's done. The only thing we have for the weekend is grade papers and put them in wet papers. So we're not planning anything on the weekend. So that's how we plan, that's how we get our thoughts down. Before we talk about resources, well, you want to talk about resources?
Well, we do this like throughout the week. We have different things. So, and then, like this is just what we need to find and get, and then to pull from, we have our Common Core, which we have a teacher binder, and it has all the Common Core standards divided up, so it's right there. We have the pacing guides, the math and DOA pacing guides, and we use that to know what we're teaching next. And Angel made the scope and sequence from Envision and stuff in Storytown, so we have that. Then we we have the Montessori, I don't know what it's called. The Big Mama, we have the small one. So once we find the standard and look at the pacing guide, then we kind of pull our Montessori out to see, okay, what Montessori words can we use with that. And then we also use the rubric. It changed, so I don't know the NIEC, we have that out and make sure we're kind of hitting on those. So those are the 4 things, and that's all in our teacher binder, so when we plan, we have it all sitting right there, and we kind of go through those 4 things to make sure we're hitting everything in our lesson.
And we're only going through it on the day that we're talking. So on Tuesday, we're doing Storytown, so on Tuesday, we'll be talking about the comprehension. So you're not talking about everything on one day. So usually, we're on the phone together just because that's how it works out. And we'll say, all right, on Wednesday we're doing our story, what kind of PowerPoint are we using, what's our phonics skill, what's a smartboard file. And then usually we make a task card for every skill. We've been making a task card for every single skill we taught. So we have a task card for every phonics skill we taught, every math skill we taught, and we divide it up. Like I'll do math, I'll make both of ours, and she'll do phonics. So it kind of helps if you have a partner. So then by the end of the week, we're done. Everything's done. Now, we look at our skills, and we look at the achievement series too. So we make sure whatever skills we're touching, we go to the achievement series, and I don't know if everyone's shown you how to do that, but you can make tests. So that's how we make a lot of our tests. So it's kind of aligned to achievement series, so they can see the format, they can see what it looks like, and we always give them a constructive response question.
And your SLTs are going to be based on achievement series. So that's a good thing for them to practice.
And we tell them why, because we didn't start off that way. Then last year we had Eagle, so we made their test, well, it was first grade. And first grade used Eagle, so we made their test look like Eagle. Well, this year we have some of our first graders back, and they're like, well, why do our tests look like this now? And so we explain, okay, well, you're not taking Eagle anymore. This year you're on achievement series, and you're going to see this. We talk about how benchmark, so they know why it looks that way.
And in this sheet, we print out 5 of them a week. So we have this checklist out, we have our resources out, and we have this sheet, which I can email to you if you want it. This has all the times we do everything, and then it has all the different subjects. So we'll sit down and say, all right, we're planning a meeting. So we write our intro, we think about our whole group, our guided, any quick checks, and we write it right here. And then the next day we do the next one. So by Friday, you have the whole week, because you have 5 pages.
During the week.
The whole thing will be planned. Your whole lesson plans are done by Friday.
This sheet has changed 50 times. Like we wanted it all in one, we used to have like a
But it has your
page full, and
interventions,
we're
so
flipping back and
we
forth
plan everything. Our
every day.
interventions for the next week, we have everything planned.
So we kept trying to put it all on one sheet. So on the day, this is on the table, so you can kind of
You just check it off
glance.
as you go.
And we check, okay, I taught that, okay. And if something didn't get taught, we circled
And
it.
then this has
moved
your
it.
time, so you know exactly what you're doing. So you're doing that during the week, like during your break, or during lunch, we'll sit and talk. So Monday we're talking about this, Tuesday we're talking about this. The other thing we have on the back of the packet for y'all is little reward and yeah, everybody should have it. It's not on the table. But this does have our times on it, I just realized. So if you want this digital to fix your times, this has our everything. But on the back, we have incentives. Last year we were giving them candy and treats and pencils, and we were spending so much money that we got tired of it. So this summer we found these little coupons on Teachers Pay Teachers, and she has them. And it's free stuff that you can give the kids. We do a point value. We do PBIS tickets, and instead of them keeping it in their bucket and like losing them and playing with them, they cash them in on the dojo. So we have Classroom Dojo on the smart board. So whenever they get a ticket, they'll put it in a basket and they'll get a point.
And we keep track, every Friday, we have a
little table.
a graph, and we have all their names, and so we write down on Friday how many points they got for the week, so we can keep up, because they turn them in, and they get the points, but for us to keep track on Friday, we write down how many points they got for that week.